What's good, everybody? This is Y and Z, a conversation between the generations. I represent Generation Y in the equation, aka known as the Millennials. The other half, my youngest snapper over there, represents the Z,
What's
Gen
that,
Z.
brother?
Xavier Lewis, I'm Jay Clark. How you doing this week, brother?
Hey man, it's a good week. It's a good week. We down here in New Orleans, hosted the Super Bowl. The folks loved us out here. But I mean, I'm glad I'm not a small business owner, just a business owner altogether. They said they were pretty crappy on that end, like little to no revenue the whole time. But other than that, they loved us, and they're gonna miss us next year when they're in the Bay Area.
Did you find yourself in any trouble, sir?
Nah, man. I
You
actually I,
behaved. You
I was
behaved.
put up. I was because I had to work. I had to work. So, I often don't find myself in trouble when I have to work.
Yep, that day, working will keep you out of trouble for
It will, man.
sure. Like, share, subscribe. YZ the Divide. J Clark 787. The real Xavier Lewis. Speaking of the Super Bowl, the game was trash. I really don't have much to say about the game itself. Like,
Let me just say this. Let me start off by saying this about the game. All of you Americans didn't want to witness history, and that's what you get. I blame Americans. Oh, we don't want the Kansas City Chiefs has won too much. They cheat too much. The refs are in their pockets. Oh. And that's what you get, a boring Super Bowl game.
yeah, the game
That's
was
what you
boring.
get.
Game was boring. Commercials were trash.
This is what happens when you don't let the Chiefs pay off the refs and you don't get a good game.
Still fuck the Eagles. But let's talk about the real excitement of the night. That halftime show.
Hold on. Let's say this real quick. I hated on the brother Jalen Hurts. All praise be to Jalen Hurts. He's a great quarterback. He's going to continue having a great career. Philadelphia Eagles, congratulations. But all in all, the game was very anticlimactic.
Yeah,
Thank
game
you.
and commercials, both trash. But that halftime show, though.
Let's start here. All right.
Most watched halftime. Most watched.
Okay, let me say this. Let me just put this in there. Let me put this in there. Thanks to Gen Z. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The most watched halftime show due to my generation. Kendrick is the voice of my generation. Thank you very much. While he may be your generation,
Thank you.
he represents mine.
No. Okay. Anyways,
He's the star that we built, not y'all.
Whoa,
Not
sir,
built. Okay,
sir,
whoa.
sir.
No.
You get
Okay,
out of line, man.
no. Not built. Built was the wrong word. Elevated. Thank you.
I don't even know about that, bro. There's so many ways to go with this because this singular show has literally touched almost every fabric of America that you could ever envision. Let's start from the high point, and what I mean is just the furthest out point.
Okay.
What'd you think of the show?
The halftime, I loved it. Contrary to popular belief, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan.
Mm-hmm.
In a world where you have your, Drakes and you have your rappers like that versus, your rappers like J. Cole or your Kendricks, you know what I'm saying? True. Not saying that Drake is not a true lyricist, not saying that.
I'll say it. He's not a true lyricist.
When you have Kendrick Lamar in your world and you're a true lover of music and lyricism, I don't see how you're not a fan of him. Because he embodies those two things truly. So I'm a huge fan of Kendrick. I enjoyed the show. I'll make this statement. I've never, and I've watched a lot of Super Bowl halftime shows. I've never seen a Super Bowl halftime show make a stance like that.
Interesting statement. Put a pin in that for a second. Where you the show was it was a dope show with an asterisk. With an asterisk. I rate this as a top 5 halftime show. And right now I've got it as number 3. I'm sorry, nobody's beating MJ or Prince. I've got it right now slided as number 3 with an asterisk. And here's why. You got to watch that thing over and over again to catch. There's so many layers. Kudos to all those who are so smart, so intelligent. You caught every reference from the first
time.
Watch. Um, because this one benefits from being able to watch it over and over again.
The
And so,
rewatchability is very high.
right. And so, while not to diminish or take away from the show, there's no way I can put it as the greatest of all time or number one simply because
I'll put it
I have
like
that
this.
ability to rewatch. And I mean it by
Yeah,
this, like Prince and Michael, for example, or the majority of Super Bowl halftimes pre YouTube. So we're talking pre really like
right,
2015
right.
heavy because they weren't uploading the great quality. So pre 2015 really heavy. It was based off that we saw it live or we saw it when it happened and you
And
never
that's
saw it
it.
again. You couldn't just go
Go
back
back
and
and watch
watch
it
it.
again.
Or if you missed it, you couldn't be like, oh, let me no, 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 no. Prince did what Prince did, and many people never saw that thing again unless you got a couple clips here or there until they start putting these things on YouTube like that. And so there's something about that experience where it's in the memory. You see it and it's there versus the minute Kendrick was done, I could go rewatch that thing on YouTube if I
I'm
wanted
gonna
to
say this though.
over and over again.
The only reason why I can't put Kendrick higher than specifically Michael and Prince is because while I do think it was a great show, Kendrick himself is not a showman. He's a great storyteller. I believe. I think he's a great storyteller. I think he has great messages. He's a great rapper and a lyricist, but he's not a musician.
Hip
And
hop is a
and you
hard spot to do that in. That's a hard thing.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I think we all need to give him credit where credit is due in the ability to tell such a story like he did without a live band, without doing it on tracks. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that
Somebody
whole.
was on some tracks during that. Somebody was on tracks. That's
Oh
all.
yeah, we know who was on tracks. Great outfit though, great hair. But yeah, still being able to put on a great show per se, and still using those things that most people would not necessarily want to be used during a Super Bowl halftime show, because of what we've seen in the past. We've seen live music, live bands, live, and then for him to come out and be like, I understand what I could do and how it could go live, but I have the story I want to tell, that, could be necessarily overlooked even more if I were to use, more musical things in my performance.
Let's go down an aspect of that hole real quick because you talked about yes, it's a great show and he did a lot with it. And so yes, while we have ranked it very high, there are those who it was the worst show on earth to them. It was the DEI halftime show, which yes, it is a
Yes.
black ass halftime show during Black History Month. And then for many, there were a lot of things that just and the winds are blowing because I tell you the discourse about this
This
halftime
halftime is so crazy.
is
And I keep the thing that I keep like, okay, on one side, I agree. I feel like if you're going to be a Super Bowl halftime performing artist, you should have a catalog where at least 50 to 75% of the national American audience knows that catalog.
no. Strongly disagree.
So you feel like you can have a Super Bowl halftime performing artist and only a select few of people know their catalog or the songs that they're going to perform?
So let me tell you about some of the halftime shows us had to sit through. We had to sit through
Let
Aerosmith.
let no.
We had to sit through U2. We had to sit through Shania Twain. We had to sit through, let's see here, who else? Um, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
But I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about our folks making these comments about, oh, I don't know any of his music, so I just couldn't really get into
Okay,
it.
okay. There's a lot of folk making that comment. You cannot make that comment one a week after the man just won 5 Grammys, including
Please.
Song of the Year, not Rap Song of the Year, Song of the Year, and
Record.
Record of the Year. Two of the biggest three awards at the Grammys. You cannot say, who knows Kendrick? Kendrick ain't mainstream. Bullshit. The man just came off of
I agree.
5 Grammys. Been
I
in the
agree.
game 15 years. for some controversial things, depending on what side of the view you are,
Yeah.
like the get the out of here with that.
I,
Like,
I
just because
completely
you
agree.
don't know him
Yeah.
doesn't mean literally the man now is the most streamed artist on Spotify.
Like
Had
I
the number one song on the charts last year. You don't get there, especially in this day and age, by being a nobody.
I'm gonna tell you what I think the real discord is, and I've seen a lot of people saying this, and I actually agree. They was like, "Oh, they would have been more receptive if this was an artist or specifically a rapper who was doing some twerking or had some of that essence in there. If they were doing things that was so
Okay,
smoldering
we're gonna go there.
instead of enlightening, like what Kendrick did."
Okay, so let's go there. Cool. Yeah, I saw a lot of comments about yeah, the message was too complex. You shouldn't need notes to break down a show. Like the average reading level in this country right now is somewhere between fourth and
In
sixth
sixth grade,
grade.
right?
And I kept hearing people say, we need to meet people where they are. We've been doing that for the last 20 years, and the level keeps declining. At
What are
what
we gonna
point
do? Put
are
Elmo
we?
on the field?
And there's going to be some day and age where they don't understand what Elmo is saying. At some point, you have to be able to challenge and push. Because what I've appreciated was those who were like, I didn't catch everything. Some of these things, yes, did go over my head. But you know what I did?
Went back and watched it.
Well, not just went back and watched it, I went back and researched what some of these things were. And now I understand. And so I am, aside from it being Kendrick and I am sick and tired of this damn disposition that we cannot push people and challenge people. And it's the whole education debate. Like
Yeah,
we
and
should just
and
let people
and
be dumb. Yes,
people talking
some people need to
about
be let to be dumb, but the fact that
that
we
ain't
can't challenge you because it makes you uncomfortable is ridiculous.
or just like the generational aspect of the whole thing. People talking about, oh, this ain't my music, this the music for the kids nowadays or whatever like that. I work with a lady, she's in her 60s. And she was like, at first when I was watching it, I didn't catch it. But then my grandson, after the show, he went back and explained it to me. And then she said, after he explained it to me and I rewatched it again, I think that's the best Super Bowl halftime show I've ever seen.
There is something to be said. And I don't know what it is about this era. And I won't put it all on your generation, but your generation is scared to be wrong. We're scared to admit they don't know anything. And a majority of the knowledge that you guys are acting on a daily life comes from 30-second clips on a social media platform.
But I'll also say, bro, let's be real. Generation X, stubborn.
They're granted, they're stubborn, but and there's just as many as them who were like, yeah, we should dumb this down. I have serious problems with that because we're going to get to this we're going to have a movie review soon because there's a movie I need you to watch which aligns right in line with this. Um, but at some point, like we just can't keep getting dumber.
Right.
But that's what we see happening, and especially like, of course, like hell, if I'm a kid in school, I don't need to read the book and write the paper and form my own thoughts. I'm going to Chat GPT. I'm going to all these like there's nothing pushing people now to form their own opinions or actually be able to put one and one together to make two.
Right.
If somebody's not spelling it out for them, we saw that with the election. Hell, you had an entire novel written about what is happening right now, and people were like, "Nah, that's not." And what's happening right now? That damn novel that people were trying to tell y'all about.
Right.
And it's like, nah, no, he says no. Idiots, idiots. We need to raise the intelligence level. Let's like,
Right.
it's sad. And granted, I didn't catch everything. It's a 12-minute show and there was a lot in there. I didn't catch everything. But when people are having trouble with the line is something as simple as 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than music. My God, that is a simple ass analogy.
Thank you.
And
Like everybody is talking about, the whole him saying Drake and all that kind of stuff, which I still feel like in itself, like, yeah, he did that, but still,
Wait.
the halftime show in that particular song was bigger than Drake.
There were so many confluences going on that you had the
He
Drake,
was being petty.
you had the beef, you had the entertainment value, and then you also had the protest demonstration essentially that was going on underneath and it all, and the history like it's
It was so much like
genius.
having
It's
Serena be
genius,
there. Watch this. Just the duality of that in itself. Serena crip walking. The
bro.
same thing she does in
Got in trouble
2012 and
for
gets heckled for, but also on the other side.
because she Drake's
This is a
ex.
diss to Drake. Like Kendrick is a genius.
The levels, like I said, there are so many levels to this thing. It's impossible to touch them all. But
All right.
that's the beauty of the art, though. Because as
Yeah.
you said it, there were some who were like, "This is the Super Bowl. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be." They're part of what we do, especially with the art, is take these moments and turn them into something else.
Capitalize on them.
Like
Because
what other
let's be
stage you gonna be
real.
able to do that for?
Exactly.
There
Exactly.
isn't
When is
one.
the next time we will be able to be put on these stages again to make a voice heard like this? Look at the current political climate of this country. While people want to ignore that, Kendrick basically put it in everybody's face like, hey, this is what's happening. Let's be real.
And that is
Let's
a
be real. This is
that is
what's happening.
and that is a core thing of black music
Correct.
specifically that they have
Yes.
tried to push away, which is also at the heart of Drake versus Kendrick, is because you have an artist who is true to the form like Kendrick, especially when you're talking hip hop, and then you have the one like Drake who was very pushed forward commercially because yes, he represents that dumbing down. He represents that this is bigger than just he represents that yeah, this is just music, it's not bigger than anything. But this what Kendrick is doing is the same thing we saw in the 60s,
Be
in the
for real.
70s, in the
Right?
80s, and the nine it's tailed off in the last 20 years, which is sad. But to see him infuse something as core to black music as that. Hell, Edwin Starr, War, Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Sam Cooke, a change is gonna come. These are songs that are more than just about putting some lyrics to a beat on a piece of paper. Now, these songs are speaking about something, and that's exactly the same lane that Kendrick goes into. And
Definitely.
folks is mad. But
And
we
I
need more
mean,
of that energy.
and I think just in the simplicity of the Super Bowl halftime show opens with Samuel L. Jackson, top hat.
Uncle Sam. Sam
Uncle
Jackson
Sam,
playing
how
Uncle
clear
Sam.
can it be? Much clearer could it be?
Like there are so many visuals. The divided flag, the
Them being hunched over in the flag, also making the statement that this country is built on the backs of black people.
the game field, the prison yard.
The prison, right?
Man, the
Them all falling down and look like marks,
the
body
YN
marks.
the YN's chilling under the street light. The fact that he teased the song and then Sam was like, no, you don't do that. You act like that. That thing was
I get sued for stuff like that.
this was a piece
Of
of
art.
art.
Samuel L. Jackson
Brilliant.
saying, "Hold up, that's
Brilliant
too
piece.
hood."
Brilliant piece of art.
He come out and do the jump with Scissor, and Samuel L. Jackson says, "That's nice and calm. That's what we like."
That's what we like. AKA, they like that
Yeah.
Drake. We like y'all pacified. We like y'all twerking and shaking. You know,
Come
we,
on,
we don't
man.
we don't need the public enemy. You know, we don't need
People
the
are
NWA.
people are so in love with the oh no limit soldiers and that just area and the era of like rough hip hop and all that kind of stuff. And then we get stuff like Kendrick doing what he did at the Super Bowl halftime show, and y'all like, why? I don't like it. Worst Super Bowl halftime show of all
This
time.
is your era because there is room for both. There used to be both commercially back in like that's the part where some of us are like when we really talk about music being dead right now is because yes, you had your party jams. It don't matter. We just enjoying life is good. But then you also had your songs where like, yeah, this is about something. And
Yeah.
there was space for both. And the backlash we're seeing of somebody trying to elevate and do more with the music is sad because music is a primary driver
For culture.
of society. Like I would low key postulate like what do you, when you with the song crap crap gospel song civil rights era it's leaving in my mind. The one you would always sing while protesting. God, old school church gospel song. Jesus, I am blanking out
We
right
shall
now.
overcome.
We shall overcome. What some of that gospel was to the civil rights era, I would low key postulate Kendrick is right now. When you think of some of his records
I agree.
and the things he's been saying, like, all right, like
I
it's
agree.
it's giving that type of energy. And
It
and they hate
definitely
it.
is.
They hate it. It's one of the reasons why they've sought to change music since the 60s and 70s because they saw the power in what it can do. Like, we need to lean into that more. It can't just all be twerking and shaking and
Right.
vibes, as
It's
y'all like to put it. It can't
it's
just all be
crazy.
vibes.
At first I thought it was crazy that the FBI had records and happenings and phone conversations of Aretha Franklin. Because at first I was like, why would they be keeping up with Aretha Franklin? But you had to
Music,
understand the
music is.
power that an artist had from the black community perspective. They were like, oh, they're a threat
I mean,
because they can spark this culture in a second
it's not
with
just black
one
music though,
song.
too. It's not just black music. It's that entire like 60 like it's the folk stuff. It's the it's the biases. It's all that kind of stuff. These folks were saying something with the music,
Yeah.
and
And I
we do
think,
it better than anybody.
yeah, I think for anyone to make the statement, this is just the worst show ever, you really, really show an ugly side of yourself. I wouldn't even say ugly. I'd say just ignorant.
Like even my bringing up those artists I brought up earlier as the shows that I didn't like, those weren't for me, and I got that. But I know some of
Right.
those. Like, there were songs in those sets like, oh yeah, this my Aerosmith jam. I know Tom Petty, and like there are some songs as black people generally do. We are well versed in
Yeah.
music. But I didn't enjoy the whole thing. Was the whole thing satisfying? No, no,
Right.
for pieces. But yeah, no, there are some folk just hating, and once again showing that DEI, that diversity, equity, inclusion, hate that people are spewing right now. That it's that MAGA base. It's that feeling. It's not directly being marketed to be or being made to me. It's real white energy there. It's MAGA energy there. That as I saw somebody put it, there was like it was complaining about how there was no white dancers on the field. They're like Kendrick couldn't just include, couldn't have a couple white dancers. Why they all have to be black? Somebody was like, "Oh, you mean like a little diversity, equity, and inclusion? That's what you wanted in this? You understand when you were on the other side,
Right.
but that's also that's a conversation for another time. That entire if it ain't focused on them, they don't know how to act. And this was something not directly catered to
All right.
them.
I think we should also talk about the others, another port. I'm not going to say the other side, but another portion
Hmm.
of the Super Bowl halftime show hate. This comment has been pissing me off because obviously these people have not seen this person live in the last 20 years. Oh, Lil Wayne could have did a much better job at the
No,
halftime show.
people have retracted that. I think since then because, but again, it don't matter who you would have had up there rapper. Hip hop, and this is a hip hop fan, doesn't make the best stage show because a real art of hip hop is the words you are saying, the words I'm
Not the
speaking.
show you're putting on,
And
right?
if I am unfamiliar with your cadence and how you speak, or even somebody,
I'm
because
not going to understand anything
let's
you're
be
saying.
honest, it's real easy to catch on to the lyrics of a pop song, a rock song, R&B. It's much
Right.
slower, less words per. Like it's easy to catch that flow. When you start talking hip hop and rap, and some of these flows and the amount of analogies and metaphors that they are squeezing in, yeah, I can understand why it's difficult to necessarily to be like, yeah, I didn't understand a word he's saying. It wasn't the best audio for the live show. And yeah, a lot of this stuff takes repetitive listening to know. Like there was
Yes.
a couple portions, even I, and having had listened to some of this stuff, was like, I'm not sure which part of the song he was at or which verses was he start. It took me a second,
Right.
but that doesn't make it bad though. It doesn't make it bad. It's just unfortunate we are used to stage shows, singers and the musical. Like it's that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, they shown the hate for the art form.
Oh, definitely. At least that art form being on that stage.
Yeah.
And it was just so interesting to see, like, just yeah, like everybody's mixed opinion. Just their inability to being open to see what was actually being said. It was just like this is almost disheartening.
No,
And I'm not worried about the other community. I'm not. Like we never expected them to understand our songs being sung in the field. We never expected them to do that.
listen, it's good to know that they still don't.
Right,
We're gonna
right.
need some of that going forward. It's good to know that we can do this, and it's still because we're gonna
Bad
need
part is when we miss it too.
you always had those folk. As Harriet Tubman said, I could have
Yep.
saved so many more. I had to, I had to leave some behind. And
Yep.
that's the whole we've been sold a dream that we've been united as a community. That's another discussion for another day.
Woo. Oh, oh,
But
oh, oh, that
we
would be
got we
good.
we gotta have some fun before we get out of here. Can we talk about the petty real quick?
Let's
Because
go. Let's go.
the big one of the biggest questions was he gonna do the song? And he teased us. And I love the way that he didn't just perform like
Yes.
he made that a part of it too. I heard some of y'all like to sue, like and the way and the
When
way
I
the way.
said when he's first of all, that would have been a if he didn't even perform the song, it would have left it at that one line. I was like, oh, he just made my day.
I said
Like
don't.
that was petty
I said
enough in
don't tease us, Kendrick.
itself.
I said don't tease us. Don't tease us.
I mean, it took us there, and then even the way that he interrupts Uncle Sam to do the song.
Say Drake. Boy, when I tell you
Full,
that's petty, that
full
I was
smile, stacked
like, just
jeans.
just directly into it. Say Drake. Oh,
I heard you like him young.
oh,
You better not ever go to cell block. I mean,
oh,
just all teeth showing. I
oh.
said, Lord, somebody need to check on Drake. They need to
Rock,
put him on somebody's
rocking the lowercase a chain. The lowercase a chain.
A minor.
And then to hear the crowd, because to hear the crowd, because it's different. Like take the Amazon Prime concert, like where literally he just stomped that body into the ground.
Ugh.
Like it's fresh, and that's a hit. That was a real hip hop crowd for the most part. Big.
Hmm.
This is the one. This is not if the most mainstream stage that exists right now in this society. To have 70,000 people going
All in New
A
Orleans.
minor at an event streamed worldwide.
Oh, also, I will say Taylor Swift getting booed out the stadium. Jeez. What? I'm gonna say this. I bet you a fire album gonna come from that breakup.
He's made it longer than I've expected so far. Uh, but I think like that's as Kendrick said, game over. Congratulations to you and your generation. You have now experienced a cultural moment
Yep.
that is defining for the era. Like, and y'all really haven't seen
Nope.
too many of them like this before.
Nope.
And it's not saying that everything had to get this low, but literally, like when we look at the history, this beef really kicked off early last year. And just now, I think we can finally say the door is closed on it. Like Kendrick is
Yeah,
like,
because
game over, TV off, it's done, it's a wrap.
right,
He
like
got the lawsuits.
he's won 5 Grammys from it. He became a #1 streaming artist from it. It became the most talked about beef of the year, not just hip hop beef. just all out one of the top topics to talk about. Kendrick Lamar.
Not Like Us has surpassed Ether. And Ether, up until Not Like Us, was the crowning jewel for a diss record. So much that it created the
Yeah.
verb, you've been ethered. Like
Yeah.
when we talk, like it comes from that song. As important as that song was, and as big as that song was for hip hop, Not Like Us has surpassed that in a way that I don't think anybody was expecting when we were going into this beef for it to become what it has become. Like literally now, it is, whereas Ether used to be literally the definition of a diss track, Not Like Us is now in the dictionary for it.
The blueprint.
That is now the blueprint for how to destroy your opponent and literally just put that exclamation point like mic drop, bam, Not Like Us.
And I think, I mean, because we didn't, I know we didn't, at least me and you, we just didn't expect it to last as long.
Because the environment isn't made like this is
It was an
I
anomaly.
have enjoyed it. Like I have
It
enjoyed
wasn't dragged out to an uncomfortable level, like, ah, we ready for this
some
to
folks were
end.
starting to complain, but this this was how it used to be. Things would last. Things would go on. Like this was feel good, just old school, how I was being raised energy in terms of a mainstream where things with songs would last, movies would last, books would last, interview like the things that occurred would last for a substantial period of time to the point that yes, they became crucial things in our memories.
Now, watch this. I got a question for you.
Hmm.
Uh, do you think Drake in this album on Friday just keeps moving like nothing happened?
Is he dropping? He's dropping an album on Friday, right? I
Oh,
mean,
February. I thought he was dropping that album with him and Party on Friday, February 14th.
there's no way for him to win. There's no way for him to win here because I think everybody at this point is like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. The victory lap has been had. The celebration, the toast, like it's done. He low key should have gone away from it. If anything, he's gonna just it's gonna look petty for him because
Yeah.
it's just like, dog, take your L and move on. Like honestly, I hope he doesn't, simply because yeah, take your L and move on. But if he's got something out here that's going to try and stoke these embers or keep things going or show that it's still on your mind, which I understand why it would still be on your mind, but at some point, like, bruh, take your L. You need to take your L the same way the Chiefs did against the Eagles. Like, bruh,
And just like you just need to go into remission for a little
go
bit.
away for a minute. Cause even just the other day, they still talking about the lawsuit against UMG and yada. It's like, bruh, there is no pathway forward for you right now. You just need to grab your
Just go
ass
chill
because you
out.
just
I
got
feel
whooped.
like for him to even release that he's about to release a whole album with Party Next Door, the like moments after Kendrick wins Record of the Year, you know. So February 14th, we'll see what that little album is about. Maybe it could have nothing to do with it. But
I hope
then
it
even
doesn't.
then it's just gonna be like, so you just gonna keep moving like you just didn't get drugged. And
Like I
maybe
said,
that's it. Maybe that's it's
there is
maybe that's just what
there
he
is
does.
no winning for him here. There is no winning. Like right now, 6 of the top 10 songs in the country are Kendrick and or SZA. Now that's ridiculous, but that's a sign of this era. But like, bruh, you have been rejected. Game over. TV off. Y and Z conversation between the generations. So many layers that we did.
The Chiefs offensive line, they must have ate too much food because they were piss poor. I'm neither an Eagles or a Chiefs fan, but I expected a good game. And I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to see history made. I wanted to see a three-peat in my time period.
Worst, one of the worst Super Bowl games and combos of commercials. The only saving grace.
Oh, the commercials were
Was just
booty.
booty.
I was there with my mom, bro. I was like, man, these commercials are pretty trash. So I
Yeah,
said,
they were.
these are not the commercials we grew up like loving and being so anticipated. Oh, Super Bowl commercials, Super Bowl commercials. Like it was a whole
And
thing.
everything needing a celebrity cameo. It was just booty, as you
I
said.
will say the best commercial I was Nike doing a whole commercial for black women
Oh, that
in
fire,
sports. That
fire,
was
fire,
Chef's Kiss.
fire. Standout.
Chef's Kiss.
One. And that's sad.
That's the only one I remember.
That's sad. Yeah, that was.
It's Tuesday. That's the only one I remember.
Hey, but that's what your generation likes. Hey, just give us one. We get one. And we think we're doing something. It's Y and Z conversation between the generations. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, yep. I feel like we're that meme right now. Dog sitting in the house. This is fine. This is fine. We'll touch a little bit more on that. Treat your boo right for Valentine's Day. We ain't getting to nothing lovey.
Oh,
It's
yes, sir.
Valentine's Day, and we ain't even getting to no lovey dovey, no slow jet. That's a damn shame. But I mean,
This is
Kendrick did that. He did that.
he did that to us. All right, y'all.